It is freezing cold here in Manchester today. My toes are literally going to drop off. So we're going to sit inside and talk about the 5 challenges you're likely going to face when it comes to starting street photography. First of these challenges, and this is one that really impacts the people around you that you might be shooting, and that is legal issues within street photography. Now, legal issues are not the same in every single country. In the UK versus the US versus some countries in the Middle East, you're going to find lots of different issues. So it's worth looking into the country you're going to be shooting in terms of their GDPR laws, privacy laws, and fair use of imagery on private and publicly owned land. Here in the UK, for example, you have every right to shoot in public spaces. And when it comes to privately owned spaces, you pretty much can shoot there until someone tells you not to, but it's normally best to ask first if you are unsure. That's more to do with the law and say security side of things, but when it comes to actually taking an image of someone else, a lot of it comes down to common sense and courtesy. And if someone sees you taking their photo and they say, "Hi, did you take my photo?" It's then down to you to be transparent with them, explain what you were doing, and if they're uncomfortable with you having their photo, I would normally say be the decent person and just delete it. Street photography is not supposed to be something disruptive that's going to negatively impact the people around you when you are photographing the street. It's more about appreciating the things around you and trying to capture moments in time. So I've dropped some helpful links in terms of legal issues within street photography with regards to the UK, the USA, and the European Union in the description below this video. The second challenge we're going to talk about, and this is one that I think we all like to get hung up on because it involves looking at gear, and this is the technical challenge of street photography. And that is a lot of the time where we start looking for the right tools to accomplish the job. Because as photographers, we love to solve problems with our cameras. We love to go into a low light scene and think, oh, how can I shoot this better? What aperture lens do I need? How low can my shutter speed go? Should I be shooting on a tripod? We like going into different scenes and thinking, how can I get the best image out of this with the knowledge that I have and the tools that I have at my disposal? And I think with that in mind, street photography is probably one of the most dynamic genres of photography when it comes to fast-paced problem solving. You can walk between several scenes with lights going in different directions, subjects moving fast or slow. You are shooting in the least controllable environment possible, but you're always trying to look for something that looks well composed, looks controlled. One of the best ways to get to grips with the technical side of street photography is sticking with one camera. Rather than hopping between camera brands and trying out different things, whatever camera you've got at the moment is the best place to actually get started, because developing a muscle memory around one camera body in terms of like just being able to use the aperture, ISO, shutter speed, second nature, knowing how the camera behaves, that's going to help you the most in terms of being technically confident when it comes to shooting in fast-paced moving scenes. For some people, this might mean shooting with something that feels more like a smartphone, like a Canon touchscreen camera, or it might mean shooting with something that has nice physical dials, like an older DSLR. Especially once you've had a bit of time to trial and error in button and dial layouts, you really get to grips with your camera and it feels like driving a car or riding a bike. And because there's no golden ratio of what your settings should be in terms of exposure, making sure that you understand the settings and limitations of your camera is always going to be the best way to go. If editing your photography feels like a biggest challenge at the moment and you want some help, go check out my new preset pack, link in the description below. Our third challenge is going to be personal safety, and this is one that I think actually bothers a lot of people in terms of getting started in street photography, especially if they're interested in night photography or shooting on their own in new environments. Feeling safe should always be your top priority personally, and especially if you go out shooting with other people, you want to make sure that you feel safe and you feel confident that they are safe with you. If personal safety feels like one of the biggest challenges for you, it's important to keep yourself aware of your surroundings. So maybe don't listen to music in headphones or like a podcast or anything while you're walking around shooting street photography. If you have your headphones in, you accidentally walk in front of a car while trying to get a nice shot, that's not worth it. You need to have your headphones out, pay attention, and don't put yourself in any unnecessary danger just to get a photo. If you are interested in shooting more nighttime street photography, but safety feels like a concern, then it might be worth trying to shoot with 1 or 2 friends. Shooting with a group of people can often be very fun, and also that should help with any fears of being out on your own in potentially unknown areas. Remember that your safety is key, so take it easy and try and get out there and have enjoyable shoots rather than stressful shoots. The fourth challenge I want to get into are kind of these social challenges. For whatever reason, a lot of us introverts are interested in street photography, and even if you have kind of an outgoing personality, when you go out shooting street photography and you're a bit of an introvert, sometimes you want want to get the images, but you don't necessarily want to participate and interact with your subjects, which makes for a very uncomfortable social challenge when you're just trying to get a few nice images. But sadly, I think there's a bit of pressure being put onto this because a lot of these short form street photography videos you'll see these days are people asking to take street portraits. And that is in no way all of what street photography is, only a small percentage of it. Those are street portraits. Those could be portraits taken with friends, they could be these set up street portraits, but that is not what all of street photography is. Within street photography, there is a vast spectrum of different styles of photography. Some that are focused more on fashion, some that are focused more on masses of people, some that are focused on shaping of light, and then street portraits fits in somewhere down in the corner. If you really enjoy shooting in the street, it's important just to get out there and trial out the shots that you enjoy and start to find what feels like a good groove to you. I know for me personally, finding shapes of light is quite a nice thing, and also getting silhouette-y and side-lit figures of people. So I'm not necessarily going out trying to shoot people in their face. So it's important to think about, what do you enjoy shooting? What images do you like having at the end of the day? But if you do want to get some more head-on photos of members of the public, but you don't really want to have any confrontation, check out this video on street photography tricks that I just put up. And in that, I show you a few different ways that you can kind of find a composition and then allow the public to come to you versus chasing down people and asking for a street portrait. And our fifth and final challenge for today is going to be creative competition. And this last one is probably going to take you the longest to get to grips with, and in your own time, because creative competition comes in any form of art. So whether it's street photography, portrait photography, music video directing, graphic design, just music production, dance, there's always going to be creative competition between you, your peers, and peers of the past. You're always comparing yourself to other people. I do think, however, that street photography is quite unique because practicing street photography and just getting out there and shooting is one thing. And then comes all of the looking at your work and then thinking, what am I getting here? What am I not getting here? Why does it not feel special the same way that some street photographers' work that I like from the past feels special? We are flooded with lots of comparisons today across all platforms. We get to see short form video versions of photography, just photos on Instagram and Vero, and videos like this on YouTube where we're talking about this sort of stuff. But I think what I've been finding recently is just putting in the reps and shooting as much as possible. And from every day of shooting, sometimes I have an image that I like and I'll put it in like my special favorites folder. And for the most part, most shoots I come back with no images that I actually like. But I think just getting out there and trying it for yourself and then trying to find what naturally the photos you want to look at for longer. Because if you want to look at them for a bit longer, that means they're at least special to you. And for me, that's been a very good practice recently. I just, that raw photo at the end of it, that goes into a special folder of, I want to keep this one. And for the most part, a lot of photography today is disposable. If you go out to shoot photography and you shoot 200 images, like in a walk, you're probably gonna get back and 199 aren't any good. If you went out and shot 200 and came back with 200 amazing images, you're some sort of god. But that's not really the case for most people. I'm gonna end this video with a bit of a hot take. Street photography at the moment, and photography in general, and video in general, because of the platforms we use today, they have split into two halves. We have the art that each person might make in their life, and then we have the content we share. Those two things aren't necessarily always gonna be perfectly linked. I make a lot of content on the internet, and I've made a few pieces of art that I would keep for the rest of my life, but I can count those probably on two hands. Whereas content, I would need many hands to count the amount of pieces that I've actually made. And within street photography, because in one walk, we can shoot hundreds and hundreds of images, it's impossible for you to be able to say, I'm gonna go out and shoot something important right now, because street photography kind of relinquishes some of the artistic control that you have to whatever happens in front of you and how you feel about what's happening in front of you and how you might interact with the world around you. If you go out on a photography walk and you just shoot and you have fun shooting and you make a bit of short form content or share some images on Instagram, that's totally fine, but they don't have to be this life-changing image that you've taken. But occasionally you might go out and something happens, you connect with that moment, you take a nice image, you get it back, you look at it and go, oh wow, that ticks some boxes for me. like not just like theoretically and technically, but also on an emotional level. And those are the images that you should want to keep going forward. Those are our 5 street photography challenges for today. If you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. I'll see you in the next video.